everyone, it's Clarissa of Five Toe Studio and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Clarissa, as I said at the beginning. I am an artistic director, an art director, and a visual brand strategist, which means I help visually put your message and your design elements together so that it makes an impact for your audience so that you can have brand loyalists and you can make money, because who's in business to not make money? That's weird, right? So that's what I do, and this channel is solely definitely this channel is definitely for those who are do-it-yourself designers who may not have the budget for a design team to create their branding to help them with their message. What I want to do is help you get started as you start your year journey of really trying to figure out your business, trying to figure out your brands, and really getting it together. There are so many ways that you can do that in the process. I don't think that you need to wait a year to start. I think you should start now. So if you find yourself being a do-it-yourself designer, if you find yourself starting your blog or your brand or your business for the first time, you come to the right spot. Hit subscribe down there and give this video a thumbs up. Do you give it 2 thumbs up? Give it a thumbs up and send me messages, leave something in the comments, and I'll be glad to communicate with you about anything that you have questions over. Today's video, we're going to talk about what it means to get started. What exactly entails getting started? Is it just having an idea? Is it about opening up a platform, whether it's Blogger or WordPress or Squarespace, and getting started with your idea? What does that mean and how can you do it? Well, I created something called the Brand Base, which helps you outline all of your ideas together. So what your name or possible names, what people think about you, what people think about your business, what you think about you, what you think about your business, why did you want to start in the first place? You hear this thing called starting with your why, right? It's remember your why. Why did you start this in the first place? Why did you want to write a blog about X, Y, and Z? And this brand-based document, which you can get below, I'll put the link in the description, will help you figure all of those things out. When you start figuring out the base of your brand, then you can start developing other things. So I believe that getting started with your business, with your blog, with your brand, whatever it is all about going into action. It's not thinking about it, it's about doing it. And sometimes you have to do that gritty work behind the scenes, the stuff that's not fun, that admin stuff that, unless you're a virtual assistant, but that admin stuff that you may not care to do. And that's okay, it's part of the learning process. So really starting your brand and what that looks like, it just looks like doing. You're doing it. You're putting your plan into action. And you always want to keep that up, because no matter what you're doing and where you're going with your brand, every strategy needs action. Every plan needs a strategy, and all that strategy needs to be put into an action. If you sit there and you plan and plan and plan and plan and you don't do anything about it, then you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to move forward. So you do have to crawl before you walk. And that's why I don't really encourage people who are starting out to look at what people, or obsessed with people who have been in the game for 5-10 years are doing right now, because you didn't see their beginning process. And if they don't tell you, which they don't have to, then you're not going to know. You're just going to assume that all the success came to them overnight. And that's just not the truth. It's not what happens to anyone. You think about Oprah. She didn't start having this great success overnight. Think about the creator of Starbucks. That didn't happen overnight. There were so many failed business attempts and business ventures that he had before Starbucks became this whole mega billion-dollar industry. So, and look at, not Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs. He got fired from Apple. He got fired for the company that he revolutionized. Like, that is insanity, right? But it's just all to show that you don't have to start at the very beginning being super successful, because you're probably not. You're gonna fail a lot. You're gonna embarrass yourself a lot before you really hit that peak of what you think success is. But here's another way to think about it. Success isn't necessarily measured in a number, right? You can use numbers to help. You can use analytics to help guide, and you can check your account to see if you're breaking even or if you're profiting, right? Because that is a measure of success. But sometimes you have to look at it as, I started with nothing and now I have something, right? So say that you are a VA and you started with no clients. And 6 months later, you have one client. Well, if you look at somebody else who's been a VA for 5 years and you see that they have 10 clients, you might think that you're not successful. But 6 months ago, you didn't have a client. And now, 6 months later, you have a client. So you have one more than you did in the beginning. And that's amazing. That is something that you should be proud of and you should really congratulate yourself on, because there is progress. And sometimes progress is slow. Sometimes progress is slower than a sloth running in heat in tar in 100-degree heat in Texas with a humidity of 110%. Like, it just is. And you have to realize that not everybody's success will happen at the same time. What the universe has for you, what God has for you, is what is made for you, and you have to go into that. And I'm going to say that it's easier said than done, because trust me, there were so many times that I wanted to quit, that I didn't want to do this, because there was one of a million art directors, right? So what made me different? That's why I created the brand base, because when those thoughts came into my head, what makes me different, I had to go, wait, Clarissa, you started your 512 studio because you felt that there was lack of, not to beat a dead horse, but authenticity when it came to art direction. You felt as if people and brands weren't connecting in a real sense like your generation wants. You want your generation and brands to understand each other. And it is important for brands to understand their audience and to have a diverse audience. And that's what you're working toward. That's why 512 Studio exists. And because of that, I'm able to develop my branding colors. I was able to develop my logo. There's a reason I have I do have an elephant tattoo, but have an elephant as my logo. Because while elephants are big and can be scary looking, just like taking a chance and taking a risk, they're also passionate and they're also very caring. And I think that brands need to nurture and care for their audience. So 512 Studio does that. It can be scary, but it can be done. And you can do it from a rightful place. You can do it from a authentic, sorry to use that word again, place. And being able to understand my mission, my vision for my company is why I feel like 512 Studio has become successful and has had the clients that they've had, or that I've had. So that's really important with the brand base. So getting started, again, isn't necessarily about waiting until you have X amount in the bank. If you don't have anything in the bank, there are so many sources that you can use, like MailChimp. I mentioned Canva before. I mentioned Pixlr before. Google Drive. Weebly is a site that you can use to kind of build on something very basic if you are in e-commerce or if you're starting a business that's not necessarily in particular to blogging. There are so many ways and resources out there that you can use, and I will link all of those places down at the bottom for those of you who want to get started and are saying, all right, fine, I have the opportunity, I want to take this chance. Download the brand base, fill it out, email me with questions, let me know what you might be stuck on and what you might be confused on. And when you download the brand base, you also have access to bi-weekly newsletters that will give design and branding and business tips. You will also have the opportunity to access my resource library. And there I talk about color theory and why color is important for your brand and your brand's audience. And there we talk about fonts and why I like the use of Google fonts. And not only because they're free and they're good, but because it's so much easier for you to carry on your brand and have brand consistency. I promise I will talk about all of these things and these buzzwords and more videos. There will be more guides and access so that you can understand what that means. Also, knowing your brand voice is so important for your brand, because knowing your brand's voice and knowing your target audience will help you connect and talk with them. Think about it. If you are trying to reach a Latina audience, right? You're not going to speak Mandarin Chinese to them because it doesn't connect to them. It's not that Mandarin Chinese is bad. It's just that there's no real connection if you're trying to reach your general audience, unless you're wanting to reach Latina audiences who speak Mandarin Chinese, and they're out there. And that's an amazing niche if you want to do that. So finding your brand voice, how you're going to articulate your message and how it's going to come across in words and on your screen, on social media, what you want to use, how you want to use it, are all very important things for you to have a successful brand. And you can have all of this before you hire anybody on. If you spend that good year, a year and a half, 2 years developing that and really start growing with it, I promise you, you will see the success that you want to see. You will feel so comfortable in your brand and you will love the outcome that you're having. And then you'll get to that point where you're like, all right, it's time for me to take my stuff to the next level. It's time for me to hire somebody to really help me hone in on this niche, on this audience, so that I can have more of a Beyonce Beehive type of brand following. You want those foot soldiers that no matter what happens, that you don't even need advertising dollars because they're doing the advertising for you. That is the best way to know that your brand is successful. If someone says, hey, I need somebody that's good at zebra keeping, and if you're a zebra keeper, let me know in the description. But I need somebody that's good at zebra keeping. You don't have to Google and people are like, you should check out this person, check out that person, check out that person. Those are your foot soldiers. Those are your brand loyalists. Those are the people that highly recommend you from the get-go. And you want that. That is a very successful business. Again, let's look at pop stars. You have people that full on are believers. No matter what happens, they are believers and they will tell you, and they are, without him doing a thing, he doesn't have to release an album for another year. They will make sure that you know that Bieber is the best. Same with the Beehive. Same with, I don't know what Nicki Minaj's group is called, but same with Nicki Minaj fans and Cardi B fans and all these people who have these intense fan bases, stans as you want to call it. They are foot soldiers, and you can have that too. You don't have to be a $1 billion selling artist. You don't have to do anything super crazy, be on tabloids or, whatever the case is, to have that kind of tabloid-like success. Okay, don't do a tabloid-like success. Let's have real success from real fans. But you get my point, right? That you are able to attract those people who will come to you first, who recommend you first, who highly say, you know what, this girl or this guy or this person is the person that I want to work on X, Y, and Z. This is the person you need to go to. This is your keep them on your list. They're the ones that are going to help you and seek you through. So what does starting out look like? Starting out looks like starting. It looks like putting that pen to paper, and it looks like you're going. You write down what you want your business name to be called, and just know that those things can be changed. I wasn't 512 Studio the whole time. I was C. Nicole Photo Design, and I realized that didn't fit into what I wanted, so I had to change the brand, and I had to update my brand name and brand message, and 512 Studio just fit better, and now I've had it for about 5 years. So understand that what your name is now, starting out, doesn't have to be what your name is forever. There's no legal bound contract that you have that says you can't change your name, right? But start now, start with a name, and then keep going and evolving. When you start now, you are able to start that progress and get one step closer to your dream. You're getting one step closer to what you want with your business and with the growth in your brand and name. So start. Download the brand base. fill it out. Let me know if you have any questions, if you need any help, if you're stuck somewhere. I'll be glad to answer a few questions for you. And then keep going, keep pushing. Once you realize you have the blueprint laid out, which is what the brand base is, it's a blueprint. Once you have that laid out, you can keep going. You can start developing. The ideas will come, but you have to actually start. You can't sit there and procrastinate and come up with 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't. There are 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't. You don't have enough money to, or it's supposed to rain, and what if it turns into a tsunami, or the wind's blowing, but it could be a tornado, or anything could happen. But these are all excuses, and I had to teach myself that. The reason why I'm not starting isn't because I can't. It's because I was scared, and everyone is scared. And if you use that fear for good, then you're definitely able to go further and push further in your brand, and you'll be ahead of those who are still sitting there on their shoulda, coulda, wouldas. No one wants to be on a shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? So download the brand base, get started, sign up for the newsletter, go to the library with all of the resources, and keep an eye on that, because I'll constantly be updating different things and revising different things, and I will let you know in the newsletter as well. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll make sure to comment back. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends to subscribe, and give this video a thumbs up, because thumbs up are nice and it makes me want to keep coming back. So this is Clarissa from 512 Studio. I'll see you guys next time.